Welcome to Cost Saver Conversations. I'm Angela, and I ask the practical questions so you can quickly understand what matters. Today, I'm joined by Assad.
Hi, Angela. We are unpacking UK's self-employed mileage claims, HMRC's 45p rate versus actual cost, which saves you more today, and tying it back to the wider cost-saver ecosystem, including tools like UK's self-employed mileage, so you can turn insights into action quickly.
Just a heads up before we dive in, we are your synthetic hosts. We are great with numbers, but as AI, we can sometimes be confidently wrong. Think of us as the digital versions of your most knowledgeable, slightly caffeinated friends.
Exactly. Treat this chat as a smart estimate only, not as professional financial guidance. Always check important details with official sources or a qualified expert before making any big decisions.
Welcome back, everyone. So today we're getting into something that honestly, I think most self-employed people just kind of pick once and never look at again. Mileage claims. Assad, this is one of those things, right? It sounds dead simple on the surface, but there's actually quite a lot going on underneath.
Yeah, it's one of those topics where people just default to what they've heard, you know? Someone at a networking event or their mate down the pub says, "Oh, you just claim 45p a mile," and they never question it. And look, that can genuinely cost people real money.
Because everyone treats it like gospel. It's 45p a mile, done. Like, it's not even a decision.
Right. And I mean, it usually is the easier option, I'll give it that. But easier isn't always cheaper. And for a lot of drivers, particularly if you're running a newer car or a big diesel or even an electric vehicle now, the flat rate can leave quite a bit of money on the table every single tax year.
So we're not talking about like a tenner here and there.
No, 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 not at all. For a sole trader doing, say, 12,000 business miles a year in a more expensive car, the difference between the two methods can be, and this is the extra taxable profit we're talking about, anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 under the wrong method.
Oh, okay. That's more than I expected.
Yeah. So if you're on the basic rate, that's $300 to $600 in tax you've overpaid. And if you're a higher rate taxpayer,
It's double that.
exactly, 600 to 1,200 pounds every year for the life of that vehicle. And here's the thing that really makes this decision matter. Once you pick a method for a particular vehicle, you're generally stuck with it until you change the car. So getting it wrong at the start, yeah, that stings for a while.
Right, that's a big one. Okay, so let's actually break these two methods down. Start with the simple one, the 45p rate.
Sure. So the simplified expenses scheme, it's about as straightforward as tax gets, honestly. HMRC sets a flat rate that's meant to cover everything. Fuel, insurance, servicing, MOT, road tax, repairs, even depreciation. You just multiply your business miles by the rate, and that's your claim. You don't claim any of those things separately.
And the rates are?
For cars and vans, 45p per mile for the first 10,000 business miles in a tax year. Then it drops to 25p per mile after that. Motorcycles are 24p, bicycles 20p. But, and this is the bit that always gets a reaction, those rates haven't changed since the 2011-12 tax year.
Wait, sorry? 2011?
Yep,
That's, think about what fuel cost in 2011. Insurance, car prices, everything's gone up massively since then.
exactly. Which is why the 45p rate, which sounds quite generous when you first hear it, isn't always. It tends to work well for, okay, let me think about this. People with older, cheaper, fuel-efficient cars, sole traders doing maybe under 8,000 business miles a year, and people who just genuinely hate paperwork, which, is a legitimate reason.
Fair enough, I feel seen. But who does it actually hurt?
So owners of newer or premium vehicles where depreciation alone might be more than the flat rate covers, anyone running a large diesel SUV or a van or a 4x4, high mileage drivers who blow through the 10,000-mile threshold and suddenly drop to 25p, and this one surprises people, electric vehicle drivers, because their purchase costs are high, but their running costs are low, so the math gets kind of weird.
I hadn't thought about it like that. The EV thing is interesting.
Yeah, it catches people out.
Okay, so that's the simplified method. The other option is actual costs, which sounds like it involves a lot more effort.
It does, yeah. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. It demands proper record keeping. But what it means is you're claiming the business portion of every genuine cost of running your vehicle. And, this is the key thing, there's more you can include than most people realize.
Go on.
So, you've got fuel or electricity if you're charging an EV, road tax, MOT, insurance, specifically the business use portion, servicing, repairs, parts like tires and brakes, breakdown cover, even cleaning and valeting, parking and tolls for business trips, and then the big one.
The car itself?
Right, capital allowances, which is essentially how you claim for depreciation. HMRC lets you write down a percentage of the vehicle's value against your tax bill each year, and the rate depends on CO2 emissions, so electric and low-emission vehicles get the most favorable treatment. This is where the actual method really pulls ahead for expensive cars.
So depreciation is kind of the hidden weapon here.
It really is. I mean, a new car loses value so fast. Industry figures suggest sort of 15 to 35% in the first year, and about half its value by year 3. So if your business bought a $25,000 car and 3 years later it's worth $15,000, that $10,000, that's a real cost. But the 45P rate barely acknowledges it. Capital allowances let you recover a chunk of that against your tax bill. For a higher rate taxpayer, we're talking thousands over the life of the vehicle.
That's significant. What else do people tend to miss?
Finance interest is a massive one. If you've got your car on PCP or hire purchase, the interest element, not the capital repayments, just the interest, that's claimable proportionally, and it gets missed constantly. It can easily be worth $400 to $800 a year on a typical family car.
Oh, that's actually, yeah, I can see how people wouldn't think of that.
And then there's the insurance uplift for business use. Adding business cover to your policy typically pushes the premium up by anywhere from 50 to 300 pounds a year. That uplift is a genuine business cost, but you can only claim it under the actual method. Well, more accurately, the business proportion of your total premium.
Right.
And parking and tolls. Small individually, but a city-based tradesperson could easily rack up $500 to $1,000 a year. Those are actually claimable under both methods. They're not covered by the 45P rate, but people just forget to log them. Which is why, pro tip, get yourself a dedicated business bank card for every vehicle-related purchase, no matter how small. Your future self will thank you at self-assessment time.
That's a really good tip, actually. Okay, so let's talk mistakes, because I imagine there are some classics.
Oh, loads. So the first one, mixing methods. You cannot claim 45P per mile and then also claim your fuel receipts and servicing bills. It's one or the other for a given vehicle. People try it and it doesn't fly.
Right.
Then there's forgetting the 10,000-mile drop-off. The rate falls from 45P to 25P after 10,000 business miles, and high-mileage drivers who don't do the maths just assume they're getting 45P all the way through. They're not.
What about the commuting thing? I know that catches people.
Yeah, that's a big one. Travel from your home to a regular workplace is commuting, not business travel. It's not claimable. And it especially catches people who work from home some days and then go to a client's office other days. They think, well, my home is my office, so surely driving to the client is business travel. And sometimes it is, but the rules are, it's nuanced. You need to be careful.
And then there's the locked-in thing you mentioned earlier.
Yes. Once you've claimed for a vehicle under the simplified method, you're locked in for the life of that vehicle. You can't switch to actual costs later. You only get to choose again when you change vehicles. Which is why, does that make sense why I keep saying the initial decision matters so much?
It really does, yeah. Okay, I want to get into the examples because I think that's where this comes alive. You've got 3 scenarios in front of you.
Right, so first one, Sarah, freelance trainer from Leeds, 5-year-old Ford Fiesta she bought secondhand for 6,000 pounds. Does 6,000 business miles a year, annual running costs about 2,800 pounds. Under the simplified method, 6,000 miles times 45P, that's 2,700 pounds.
Okay.
Under actual costs, her business use is about 60%, So 60% of $2,800 is $1,680, plus maybe $400 in capital allowances, so about $2,080 total. She's better off with the flat rate by roughly $620.
Oh, that's actually reassuring. So for someone like Sarah, the simple option is genuinely the right one.
Exactly. Cheap car, modest mileage, the 45p rate works. But then, Dave, self-employed electrician from Manchester, 2-year-old diesel van bought for $22,000. He's doing 18,000 business miles a year, 90% business use.
Okay, that's a very different picture.
Very different. Simplified method, 10,000 miles at 45p is 4,500, plus 8,000 at 25p is 2,000. Total, 6,500. Under actual costs, 90% of 5,500 running costs is 4,950. But then you add the first-year capital allowance on the van, and vans get generous treatment, so that could add $15,000 or more in year one.
Wait, 15,000 in additional deductions?
In year one, yeah. Potentially 13,000 plus more than the simplified method, which at basic rate is worth about $2,600 in actual tax saved. Now, in later years, the gap narrows, but he still comes out ahead. The admin is real, but so is the money.
That's wild. Okay, and Priya?
Priya, management consultant, new 45,000 hybrid, 9,000 business miles, about 70% business use. Simplified, 9,000 times 45p is $4,050. Actual costs, 70% of 7,000 running costs gives you 4,900, plus capital allowances worth possibly 3,000 or more in year one. So she's ahead by around 3,850 with the actual method. At the 40% higher rate, that's over $1,500 in real tax save.
So she'd be leaving serious money on the table with the flat rate.
Serious money, and she might not even realize it.
Okay, so records, because none of this works if you can't back it up, right?
Right, and HMRC expects you to keep records for at least 5 years after the 31 January submission deadline. So for the 2024-25 tax year, you need records until at least 31 January 2031. For the simplified method, you need a mileage log, dates, start and end points, business miles, purpose of the trip, plus odometer readings at the start and end of the tax year.
And the actual cost method is more than that, I'm guessing.
Yeah, all of the above, plus every fuel receipt, insurance documents showing business use, servicing and repair invoices, finance agreements, interest statements, and the purchase invoice for the vehicle if you're claiming capital allowances. And, I should say, a rough estimate scribbled on the back of an envelope won't cut it. HMRC can and does ask to see this stuff, and penalties can be up to 100% of the tax due if they find you've been careless.
That's motivating in a terrifying sort of way.
It is. But the good news is most smartphones have apps now that can auto-detect trips, and you just swipe to categorize them. 15 minutes a week and you're covered. It's really not that bad once you build the habit.
Okay, so for someone listening to this thinking, right, I need to actually figure this out, what's the framework? How do they decide?
So, okay, here's how I think about it. If your vehicle is cheap, old, and cheap to run, and you're not doing huge mileage, the 45p rate is usually fine. It saves you hours of admin. If your vehicle is new, expensive, or you're using it heavily for business, you need to run the actual cost numbers before you commit. If you're not sure, calculate both for a typical year and look at the gap. If the gap is small, take the simplicity. If the gap is big, take the money.
And if you're about to buy a new car?
Plan the method choice before you sign anything. The finance structure and the vehicle you choose can materially affect which method wins. And, this is important, review the decision each time you change vehicles. Your circumstances can shift dramatically. Have I explained that clearly?
Yeah, that's really clear. One thing I wanted to ask, does switching to the actual cost method, flag you with HMRC or anything? People worry about that.
No, both methods are equally valid. HMRC's own guidance encourages you to pick whichever suits your circumstances. There's nothing suspicious about using actual costs. It's a perfectly legitimate approach.
Good. And do you need an accountant for it?
Not necessarily. Decent bookkeeping software or even just a well-organized spreadsheet is often enough for a straightforward sole trader setup.
I mean, an accountant can help, sure, but it's not a requirement.
All right. So, to kind of pull this all together for people, and I want to make sure we're really clear on this, it is not a one size fits all thing. You need to look at your actual car, your actual mileage, your actual business use percentage. Don't just default to 45p because someone told you to.
Exactly. And the potential savings with actual costs, especially for newer or more expensive vehicles, can be, we've seen the numbers, hundreds to thousands of pounds a year. But whatever you choose, keep clean records. Review your choice when you change vehicles. And don't forget the smaller stuff like parking and tolls, because those stack up quietly across the year.
Small habits applied consistently.
That's it. That's honestly what turns tax time from a nightmare into just a thing you do, which is kind of the dream, isn't it?
The dream. All right, Asad, thank you. That was genuinely really helpful. Thanks for listening, everyone. Go run your numbers. Quick side note, this guide connects with other cost-saver blogs, especially postcode crime data and rental risk, UK train delay repay calculator guide, and UK town job market profiler mistakes and hidden costs.
Exactly, and reading those together helps you connect the dots across your household budget, not just this one topic in isolation.
And if you want to apply this immediately, jump into tools like UK self-employed mileage right after this episode.
Primary sources used here include HMRC, Simplified Expenses if you're self-employed, and HMRC, Expenses if you're self-employed. So you can verify the data yourself and stay evidence-led.
That wraps this cost saver conversation with Angela and Assad. If this helped, share it with someone who could put these ideas to work this week.
Your next step is simple. Try UK self-employed mileage, then read postcode crime data and rental risk and use them together to take action today.